This is your News Source Evening Bulletin for today, Monday, the 20th day of April in the year 2020. I'm Gordon Mosley. Here is what we're tracking tonight. The chairperson of the Guyana Elections Commission, Justice Claudette Singh, is not budging from her decision that there should be no more than 10 workstations for the recount of votes. This midday, the GECOM chair, along with the commissioners of the Elections Commission, were joined at the Arthur Chung Convention Center by a team from the Ministry of Public Health, which offered guidance on the distancing arrangements that ought to be put in place in wake of the coronavirus pandemic. Following the meeting and tour, Justice Singh told reporters that the CARICOM team is concerned about the pandemic and their safety, and that was one of the reasons why she decided on having no more than 10 workstations for the recount.
No more than 10 stations, that is what I said, because I had to take into consideration the safety of those people. I could not guarantee their safety in 20 stations outside of the building. I said inside the building.
The GECOM chair also explained that the commission will look at working 10 hours per day, beginning at 8 o'clock in the morning and ending at 6 o'clock in the evening.
I had consulted with the task force as to working beyond the curfew period. As you know, curfew begins at 6. And that means we would have to leave here at 5. So up to now, we're still thinking of the 10 hours a day, which I told them 10 hours a day, but we may start at 8 and finish at 5.
There was something on social media.
No, to finish at 6.
And the chairperson also said, just like the rest of Guyana, she wants the process to be completed soon.
Well, I'm doing everything possible. I am the person who spoke about the recount. I'm the person who made that commitment, and I'm going to see it through.
Thank you.
And shortly too. I like them. I want to see it over.
Today marked 7 weeks since the 2nd of March elections. More news coming up in a moment.
Parents and guardians, you are encouraged to tune in to the Guyana Learning Channel, Cable 29 or Channel 42 for daily educational and interactive learning sessions. The nursery program airs from 6 hours to 9 hours. Primary programs from 9 hours to 12 noon. We also air informative documentaries from 12 noon to 13 hours, and our secondary level programs are aired from 13 hours to 15 hours. Please continue to listen to our radio broadcasts. The interactive radio instruction for grades 1 to 3 daily on Voice of Guyana from 9 hours 30 to 10 hours for grade 1 pupils, from 10 hours 30 to 11 hours for grade 2s, and 13 hours to 13 hours 30 for grade 3 pupils. Please remember to tune in to benefit from these educational opportunities. A message from the Ministry of Education.
GBTI is your Guyanese bank, a bank that understands every customer's unique needs, opportunities, challenges, and financial concerns. At GBTI, we see you for you. Whether you're buying a new home or car, planning your next vacation or retirement, saving for your child's future, or whether you're ready to take that bold step of investing in your dream business idea, we are with you every step of the way. We hear your stories and watch you focus on your dreams as we share your aspirations. We are more than just banking. We are a family. We are part of your community. Our commitment extends way beyond the walls of our branches and is demonstrated every day in the opportunities we provide to our individual and business customers. The support, time, and commitment we give back to communities across Guyana to help improve the lives of our Guyanese families. Because we see Guyana through your eyes.
Fuel it up and drive, Super 95, tune up. Fuel it up and drive, Super 95, tune up. Protect your fuel system, boy. High mileage and performance, boy.
Guy Oil Super 95 gasoline gives you more reasons to drive and is available at 56 service stations nationwide. For affordable price, high performance, and high mileage, choose Guy Oil's Super 95 gasoline.
Fuel it up and drive.
Tired of long lines? Register with MyGTT at mygtt.co.gy. That's mygtt.co.gy to view and pay your bills from anywhere. Enter to win an Amazon gift card worth $25 or a bounty voucher worth 5,000 Guyana dollars when you sign up today. GTT, do more.
face mask only works if it is put on, used, and removed properly. Before putting on a face mask, please do remember to wash your hands with adequate soap and water for at least 20 seconds, or use a hand sanitizer with 60% or more alcohol. This is an N95 face mask. Check your mask for holes and tears. Identify the top of the mask. Cup the mask in the palm of your hand with the metal strip at your fingertips and the elastic bands hanging loosely. Position the mask under your chin and covering your nose. Place the lower strap behind your neck. It must touch your neck. Place the upper strap to the top of your head. Untwist the straps. Use both hands to mold the shape of the nose piece by pushing downward and outward. Perform a fit check by checking the mask to see if there are any air leaks. Do not lower your mask to speak. You must not touch the front of your mask. If you do, then wash your hands immediately. When removing the face mask, remove the bottom elastic from behind, then the top elastic, ensuring that the elastic straps do not snap. Once again, do not touch the front of the mask. Throw the mask away in a bin with cover. Do not forget to wash your hands immediately. Remember, if your mask gets damp, replace it.
Welcome back. Well, following the intervention of President David Granger, the National COVID-19 Task Force has agreed that the CARICOM officials are expected to fly into Guyana to be part of the election recount process could have the WHO-approved test for the coronavirus completed in their home country prior to their travel to Guyana. They will be permitted entry once the results are negative. In a statement this evening, the COVID-19 Task Force also announced that if any of those officials are unable to have the medical test done in their home country, the Ministry of Public Health will administer the test once they arrive in Guyana, and they must self-quarantine for a period of 48 hours as they await the results. The task force said the mandatory quarantine of the persons for 14 days will not be applicable. Prime Minister Moses Nagamutu, who heads the COVID-19 task force, has written to the chairman of GECOM and the Secretary General of CARICOM, informing them of the decision of the task force. The task force had made an earlier decision that once the persons arrived during the lockdown of the airports during the current health crisis, they would have faced a 14-day quarantine. That decision no longer stands. Well, let's tell you now that while declaring that death is inevitable and she's not afraid of it as a God-fearing person, the chairperson of the Guyana Elections Commission, retired Justice Claudette Singh, has officially filed complaints with the Guyana Police Force and the Cyber Crimes Unit over threats against her life. Following her decision Friday to have no more than 10 workstations for the recount of votes, a number of threats appeared on social media and on blogs against the GECOM chair. The GECOM chair today said she became aware of the threats and filed the complaints over the weekend.
Oh yes, they have a bounty on my head from Friday night after maybe I think.
Have you reported this to the police?
Of course I reported it to the police. Not only the police but cybercrime.
Thank you.
Are you fearing for your life?
No, I'm not afraid because death is inevitable. And I believe in God.
There are reports that threats were also made against other commissioners and GECOM officials on some of the same websites and blogs. Since the 2nd of March elections, the GECOM chairperson's security has been strengthened. Some other commissioners have also taken additional security precautions of their own. Still in the world of politics, describing himself as the president-elect, even with no final declaration from the Guyana Elections Commission and the planned recount set to take place, the presidential candidate for the PPP air finale today said he's had enough of the delays in the elections results being finalized. In a statement, Mr. Ali said his party is ready to work for the Guyanese people.
I've heard the many calls for firm action. I assure you that in consultation with all stakeholders, we will determine avenues for you to show your resolve in ensuring democracy prevails. These activities, as always, will be within the rule of law, and most importantly, taking your health and safety into consideration. We have had enough delays. It is time that the new administration commence work in the interests of all Guyanese.
The Guyana Elections Commission has undertaken to do a full recount of all the votes cast in the elections. That decision came following an agreement between President David Granger, who heads the APNU-AFC coalition, and opposition leader Barrett Jagdeo, who is the General Secretary of the PPP. The General Secretary's position is the highest ranking position in the PPP, and the holder of that position is considered the party's leader. Today's statement by the party's presidential candidate Irfan Ali came hours after the chairperson of the Elections Commission assured that plans are moving ahead for the agreed recount of all votes cast in the elections, and that there will be no more than 10 workstations for that recount. Ali's party, the PPP, has objected to the chairperson's no more than 10 workstations plan, but Justice Singh has said she's sticking with that position since it ensures the safety of the CARICOM team that is expected to be part of the process. That recount is expected to begin soon as the Commission ensures all systems are in place for the recount, which will be observed by that special CARICOM high-level team. The total number of confirmed cases of the coronavirus in Guyana is now at 66, with 5 persons in the coronavirus ICU. The virus has claimed 7 lives in Guyana, with the most recent death being recorded on Saturday night when a 49-year-old visually impaired Londoner who was hospitalized in the ICU lost his battle against the virus. The Ministry of Public Health has reported that 328 tests have been completed so far, with the majority of those tests returning a negative result. Citizens are being reminded that there is no cure and no vaccine for the coronavirus, and as such they should practice physical distancing and avoid social gatherings. Well-known Guyanese political activist and former pageant trainer Marvin Pierce lost his battle with the coronavirus in New Jersey this morning. Family members announced his passing on social media. Pierce had been hospitalized for several days in the intensive care unit after contracting the coronavirus in the U.S. According to close relatives, he made a turn for the worse over the weekend and passed away early this morning. His last social media post was on the 2nd of April, when he announced that he was removing himself from social media until the coronavirus was over. May God keep us safe, were the last words in that Facebook post. Pierce's death has devastated not just his family and close friends, but many who worked along with him during the recent elections campaign. The 44-year-old was a supporter and activist of the APNU-AFC coalition and worked in the New Jersey area as part of their overseas campaign team. He was last in Guyana back in March to ensure he voted in the elections. Before migrating several years ago, Pierce was well known and loved in the local pageant circles, as he worked along as a pageant trainer with the Simply Royal group, which produced Miss Guyana Talented Teen and other pageants. Some of his past beauty queens joined others in leaving tributes on his Facebook page. One of his close friends and former Miss Guyana Talented Teen and Miss West Indies Asha Peters Monroe said she remains in shock. Another former beauty queen, Shemaine Davis, wrote, "Damn you, COVID." The head of the Simply Royal pageant company, Pamela Dillon, simply said, "It is a sad time for the company." Away from the crowning moments and the glitz of the pageant stage, Pierce became very involved in political activism in the past 10 years. His Facebook page has been flooded with tributes from his relatives and friends, and the many others with whom he crossed paths. Devastated family members remain in shock at his passing tonight. Coronavirus has claimed the lives of more than 50 Guyanese in the New York and New Jersey areas alone. On the police blotter, the Guyana Police Force and the Guyana Prison Service have launched a manhunt for 4 prisoners who escaped from the holding area of the Lusignan prison on Sunday night. 3 of the prisoners were on remand for various crimes, while the 4th was serving a 3-year prison sentence. The escaped prisoners have been identified as 26-year-old Anthony Padmore of Betafawacting, East Coast, Demerara. He was recently sentenced to 3 years in jail for marijuana trafficking. 26-year-old Kenrol Perez of Mararuma was on remand for murder. 24-year-old Sexnarine Bisnot of Tushan Housing Scheme was also on remand. He was on remand for robbery and armed robbery. And 32-year-old Ganesh Danraj from Parika was on remand for the murder of his wife. The Guyana Prison Service has also provided details on the next of kin for the escaped prisoners. Anyone knowing their whereabouts is asked to contact the nearest police station or call 911. In the courts, 2 men who were on Saturday nabbed with just over 3 ounces of cocaine and 15 pounds of marijuana have been sentenced to 4 years in jail and fined $240,000 each. 32-year-old minibus driver Stanley Mann and 28-year-old porter Lawrence Harper appeared in court this morning at the Linden Magistrates Court and pleaded guilty to the 2 counts of possession of narcotics for the purpose of trafficking. With a guilty plea, Stanley Mann of Industry East Coast Demerara and Lawrence Harper of Cummings Lodge East Coast Demerara were slapped with a 4-year jail sentence and fine on each charge. The sentences will run concurrently. The 2 were arrested on the Mambura Road in Region 10 during a police roadblock over the weekend. The illegal drugs were found stashed in the vehicle and the 2 men were immediately arrested and charged. Some tragic news to report now. A Sunday night accident at Bagatstang on the east bank of Demerara has claimed the lives of 2 young men who were best friends. Police investigators have indicated that the accident occurred just after 9:30 last night. The dead young men have been identified as 19-year-old Courtney Marcus and 20-year-old Ronaldo Simmons. They were the passengers in a Toyota motor car when the 29-year-old driver lost control of the vehicle. The vehicle first slammed into the median, then spun out of control, hitting a utility pole and a concrete fence before coming to a stop. The driver and the 2 passengers were pulled from the mangled wreck in an unconscious state and rushed to the Diamond Hospital. The 2 passengers were pronounced dead on arrival at the hospital, while the driver was transferred to the Georgetown Hospital with serious injuries, including a punctured lung, broken ribs, and head injuries. Police investigators have spoken to eyewitnesses who have revealed that the car was being driven at a fast rate when the driver lost control. The 2 young men who died, Courtney Marcus and Ronaldo Simmons, are being remembered as best friends. They lived in the St. Peter's Hall area, played sports together, and were always seen hanging out together. Their families have been left devastated by the loss of the 2 young lives. Across the Region is coming up next.
Wondering how you can access free learning materials for your children? Parents and guardians, please visit the Ministry of Education's website at www.education.gov.gy to access textbooks, past papers, and practice tests to keep your child engaged in continuous learning. When you have accessed the site, go to the Students tab, wait for a second, and choose the appropriate option. You now have access to the resources you need. You are encouraged to take advantage of this opportunity as we strive to provide the best education for the nation's children. A message from the Ministry of Education.
They've made a positive impact on the heavy-duty transportation industry in Guyana since they've arrived. Guyanese are amazed at their power, durability, efficiency, and superior handling capabilities. These are brand new trucks, manufactured in partnership with German, Italian, and French companies. They have a powerful reputation for operating under very adverse Guyanese conditions and come with full after-sales service and spare parts. They're the most sought-after trucks today, with over 500 units in Guyana, and they're available in over 100 countries, including South America and the Caribbean. Be smart. Buy brand new ST Howo trucks today. Call 608-4998 and arrange for an inspection at ST Truck Guyana Incorporated, Block B, Public Road, Covenant, East Bank, Demerara.
We are legions of men standing strong, but never too proud to stoop and help someone. We must send a clear signal to all. Do right. Walk in upright ways, knowing that's what being a man is all about. And ever aware that things will only get worse when good men do nothing. Stand strong. Be the one to live right.
Falls, a trademark of China's Zhanghao Incorporated, located at Land of Canaan, East Bank, Demerara, was incorporated in April of 2013 with over $10 billion Guyana dollars invested in a state-of-the-art 100,000 barrel fuel storage facility, a modern service station, an office complex, and a modern wharf that can berth international vessels. Having no association with any other fuel company, Falls imports its own fuel, which meets quality specifications, has all the legal permits, and is in compliance with international requirements. Its bulk facility can load 8 trucks simultaneously at a rate of 1,000 liters per minute, while the service station can service 12 cars at a time using computerized fuel pumps which can facilitate the use of ATM cards. Through its professional team of mostly Guyanese, Falls wholesales and retails fuels to the public, including farmers and miners, and will continue to positively contribute to Guyana by providing quality products, service, and attractive prices. Try Falls today for all your fuel needs.
A face mask only works if it is put on, used, and removed properly. This is a surgical mask. Before putting on a face mask, you must wash your hands properly with adequate soap and water for at least 20 seconds, or use a hand sanitizer with 60% or more alcohol. Before putting on your face mask, you should also check your mask for holes and tears, and remember to identify the top of the mask. The top of the mask has a metal strip. Put the mask on by holding the 2 elastic loops. Place one loop on one ear at a time. Pull the bottom of the mask to cover your mouth and chin. Place the mask over your nose. Pinch the stiff edge of the mask to the shape of your nose. Remember, do not pull down your mask while in use. Do not touch your mask while in use. If you do, please wash your hands immediately. To remove the face mask, hold the elastic loops from the back of your ear, pull them apart, do not snap, and pull it downwards. Then place in a bin with cover. Do not forget that as soon as you take off that face mask, you need to wash your hands immediately. Also, replace your mask once damp.
Across the region right now, regional carrier Liat will be extending the suspension of passenger services to the 15th of May in wake of the COVID-19 pandemic. According to Chief Executive Officer Julie Rayford-Jones, the extension of the suspension was based on a review by the Board of Directors and the executive management of the airline. She said several destinations have extended their border closures and instituted strict travel restrictions, which means that passengers are unable to travel. Rayford-Jones also noted that the Antigua and Barbuda-based airline was still operating cargo flights to several destinations. The airline has issued an updated travel advisory for all affected passengers on its website. Passengers booked during the period of suspension will automatically have their bookings cancelled and will receive full credit. Passengers will be able to rebook as soon as the airline resumes services. Brazil's President Jair Bolsonaro has come under criticism for joining protesters demanding that restrictions on movement introduced to stop the spread of coronavirus be lifted. Mr. Bolsonaro has clashed in recent weeks with state governors who have imposed lockdowns, denouncing the measures as dictatorial. As of Sunday, Brazil had more than 38,000 confirmed cases of the coronavirus, the highest number in Latin America. More than 2,400 people have also died from the coronavirus in Brazil. President Bolsonaro addressed a crowd of a few hundred supporters outside the army headquarters in the capital of Brasilia on Sunday. He said the protesters were patriots for defending their individual freedoms. And finally tonight, international news. A gunman disguised as a policeman killed at least 18 people, including a female Royal Canadian Mounted Police officer, in the worst mass shooting in Canada's modern-day history. The 12-hour rampage started late on Saturday and ended with a car chase. Police said the suspect shot people at different locations in Nova Scotia, many of them randomly. He was killed in a confrontation with the police. He was reported to have been driving what looked like a police car. The Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau described the attack as a tragedy. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight. I'm Gordon Mosley, reporting.